My brain.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
You will not be able to connect next time.
Alright, you're good. Why are you reading?
Practice.
You can tell. You can tell.
I don't even.
Okay. He's good. His project. He's good.
Do we have any more tables?
Fine, I'll let you YouTube.
I don't know how well it works. Give it a try.
Justin's here.
Hey!
Alright, I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm great.
I think that's better than having
And your students. No, I'm seeing how many people walk through the door. I'm barely fulfilled.
Ready, Franklin?
Are you guys all good? Okay.
I have no idea.
Was that
Alright, ready? Alright, friends, thank you so much for coming this morning. We're gonna get things started. So first of all, thank you all for coming. This is much better than when we looked at the sign up on Friday and saw 2 people sign up for the session and went, oh my God. So thank you for coming out, especially this early on a Sunday morning. So we're gonna kick things off. I'm not going to talk very long. We just kind of give you an overview of what we've done. We're gonna let our students introduce themselves. And then our plan for both of this is for you folks to have a chance to rotate through the tables, meet with our students, and let them share about their experiences rather than us telling you everything they've done. Because these are the kids who did the meat of the projects. So thank you, welcome, and let's kick things off. We are here for Meaningful Making with middle schoolers. Last year we presented kind of the part 1 of this session when we were 1 year into this program and we're talking about what we tried last year, how things went, what we learned from it, and where we were looking to go forward. This is our 2nd year running this, and so we are getting into part 2, what have we learned, and sharing some of our students' work. So, who are we? Our facilitators today are all of our students. Students, I'm just going to ask you to stand up and introduce yourselves real quick.
We'll start with this table.
Go for it.
I'm Nikki. I'm an 8th grader at Slams.
I'm Josh Collin, I'm also an 8th grader at Slams. I'm Ruben, I'm an 8th grader at Slams, but I 8th graders at Slams. I'm gonna do my project too.
We're going to get there, so just introduce yourself right now.
My name is Leah, who also, like you said, we're all agree.
I think we can skip that part, just do the names.
I'm Nate. Surprisingly, I'm an 8th grader.
Just say.
I'm Quinn.
I'm Isabel, I'm my PhD.
I just might be ignorant.
And we are the token adults in the room. We're just here to provide, I don't know, the authority. I'm Meredith Martin. I teach students in the Tech and Makerspace Lab at Slams.
Then I'm Mike Brenton. I teach kids free engineering. The 2-second elevator pitch is applied math with power tools.
All right. So the big idea behind all of this is to give our students more choice in what they do. We are a project-based learning school, but a lot of times the projects are, the bigger parts of the projects are decided upon by the teachers. And then within that, there's some choice for students, but we wanted to give students more choice in what they do. So kind of a real quick overview of this. Franklin and I see the students every year they are at SLAMs from 5th grade through 8th grade. In the first 3 years, from 5th through 7th grade, we introduce them to all of the various tools and things that we have available in our rooms. In my room, that might be things like making makeys, doing programming, working with 3D printers and things like that. Mr. Franklin more with the power tools and the hands-on math end of things. So 8th grade, our idea was, let's create more of a capstone type project where these students have been with us for 3 years now. They've learned pretty much what's available in both rooms. Let them choose what they want to work on rather than me going, oh, we're going to be doing 3D printing and making X, Y, Z. Mr. Franklin's like, oh, we're going to be using the power saws, we're going to be making birdhouses. This is a chance for students to either choose from a list of potential projects that we give them or come up with their own and get them approved to run in our room. So the way this works out is at the beginning of the year, we see all of our 8th graders first and second quarter. Beginning of first quarter, they come down, we get them all together and introduce what's going to happen as part of this project. We run a mini project together where they're doing some real quick prototyping, takes about a week, week and a half to run through the whole thing, where they learn all of the steps. And as part of this project, the idea is that it's not just the final product that we're looking at, but the process that goes into that. So every single project, no matter what it is, begins with a proposal letter. They have to pitch their project to us and convince us why should we let them do this particular project. What are they planning to do? What do they want to get out of it? Why should they be allowed to do this project? Once that's approved, they move on and they create their timeline, planning out how long they're going to take on their project and what they're going to work on each day. They put together a material list if needed, so we make sure we have everything that they need for the projects, and then they dive into the making part of it. During the course of the project, they keep a weekly log documenting what they've worked on each week and what they're planning to do going forwards. And then when they wrap up the project at the end, they put together a cost sheet detailing the cost of all their materials, how much would it cost to make one of their item, and what would they need to sell it for to make a profit. The kind of culminating presentation part of this is what's called an instructable. An instructable is basically a set of directions teaching someone how to make whatever it is that you have made. All of these things go on a portfolio website that they keep up to date throughout the entire project with a page for each project that they do. The nice thing about this is once we finish that mini project, the kids also, not just self-selecting the project, they also self-select which room they want to work on it based on what type of project they're doing. So during the course of the 2 quarters that we had the students this year, some students stayed in my room the entire 2 quarters, some students were in Mr. Franklin's room the entire 2 quarters, and some students went back and forth doing a few projects in my room, a few projects in Mr. Franklin's room. This gave them the opportunity to try out a wide variety of projects that they normally wouldn't have a chance to do. We've brought some examples of what's been done here, but we've done a wide variety of things from jewelry to clay to 3D printing to resin to string art to designing chessboards to designing scale models of things and anything and everything in between. It's been really neat to see what the kids come up with and what they want to do. So that is kind of the 2-minute elevator pitch of what we do. At this point, I don't want us to be talking at you folks so much. Ms. Franklin, do you have anything to add before we turn it over to the students?
So if this is the sort of thing that you're interested in trying to figure out, like how to do at your middle school, for example, if you're here from, I don't know, Rochester, Minnesota, one of the big logistical things that like we had to figure out how to tackle, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned this because it was something that we needed to figure out. We simply, both of us are ratcheted with every single student, and we each take attendance as for like the 45 to 48 kids that we see in that hour and 5-minute block. And that's really been the only hurdle we need to figure out, logistics wise, once they've been placed in my room or, Miss Martin's room. And at that point, as long as we're not taking attendance at the exact same moment, everything else just kind of takes care of itself. If you have more logistical questions, ask one of us during the session. I don't want to spend time talking logistics. At this point, what I wanted to do was just give a real quick rundown of the sorts of projects that we have here with the kids. And then we're just gonna open it up to have you sort of select a spot. We'll give a few minutes to chat with the students, ask them to show you what their project is, what it does. Please, please, please ask them what the motivation was behind choosing this project and what they feel like they got out of it, because that's the reason why we do this, right? Like 3 years of learning the design process, learning all the tools, gathering all the skills, and then getting proposed. I'm gonna vote for her for president. 3 years of doing all of that leads to something, and we want it to matter. And this year, I really, really, really feel like it did. Like the students chose things that they were passionate about, that they wanted to explore further. Some of them got certified on additional tools that, you know, we hadn't used in the previous 3 years, and it's been really great. So up here, up front, do you actually, why don't you two just talk very briefly about what you have? Two, 3 sentences, what did you do?
So we made a chessboard for our project, and what we did is we took a large amount of wood, and then we cut it, and we made the board, and then we got these chess molds, we filled them with resin, and then we made the chess pieces. On a basic level, that's what we did.
Perfect, Mr. Six, thank you.
So I made a planter box for Mr. Powell back there.
What's special about the planter box?
About the planter box. It's decorated in unicorn spreading math problems as requested.
Not both of them.
You can mention briefly both of them, yes.
Okay, so the first project that I did, I made a wooden version of the Slams logo, and I made an LED wall art, and I put it hung up in front of the office, in front of the school. I made it with my friend Desire, she's here. I made it out of wood, put it on an X card. It was a lot of trial and error, but yeah, we got it. And then the second project that I did, I made a digital version of Slams, not the inside, but the outside, I tried to make it as accurate as possible.
So I made a scale model of the Schuylkill rowing basin out of with this CNC machine and epoxy.
I made it's a box where the goal is that by the time I'm finished programming it, it'll have multiple languages. But you can use a small interface on it and choose 2 languages, a starting language and a secondary language. And you press a button and then you can speak into it, and using a speaker it will translate it to the other language and then say it out loud. And then I also made a desk.
We did string art.
And then,
And then
what
I
else?
we did shirt making.
Awesome. So at this point, the students either print it out in front of them or digitally have their instructables. Please, that is their presentation piece. Take a look at those. We have some others up front from project students that aren't here. Pick a table, don't all clog up at one time. You know how to do this. I'm not gonna keep explaining it. And we'll do maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes, we'll see how it goes, and then we'll rotate as the room kind of switch up.
Alright, find the table, meet with some students, ask lots of questions.
Hey, real quick, nice job figuring out what to do with 3 sentences. We got a mile over. That's what you did. That's exactly what you did.
You would have if you were up here.
This took me 3 months because I procrastinated. So I couldn't take it.
Some people, from the beginning, they had like a digital university project. A lot of management, it was like 5. Yeah, it's 5 languages, it was like a mini version.
And then we made either a base or like
Blind. That was kind of like the easy version of we had to write a proposal for it, and we had to everything that was in it, just like cardboard.
This is the camera.
Because we had a lot of fresh air.
The painting.
Why don't you originally go through this? Here's my artistic side. Like I'm an expert. So I know more about politics for this. I wanted to serve
We actually, while we were
Renee's project, what he's hoping to do is like, he wants to sell it too. Because it was like, why wouldn't he, right? And so, like, laser etching, either like, beautiful, house or whatever, and on something this size, it'll fit. And we have one of my former advisors, her dad is one of our perfect trades, so like he gives us, he's the one who gives us a big block of ash, once it's charged, it's just a big issue. And so like that is just the right size that to fit in the look, which is like laser etching. But beyond that, we're kind of limited, so I'd love to see, like, I don't know what that space for, like looking at one that just uses stepper motors, kind of like CNC, but then actually, great. want to get something more interesting. But in the short term, what areas probably the way to go. And yeah, and it's not much.
I don't think so, because I did the double. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what we did is we went down there and raised
Next year, I will. When I did the I It's like college based or like that. It's like no, we don't have to read it. Just yeah. So it's like so $100,000. It's like
After this project, anybody wants to do that? I don't know, I don't know, paying for it. I can't. So, to talk about the metrics. So, let's take maybe another 45 seconds or so, wrap up the conversation you're having. And then let's rotate clockwise. I wanted to say counterclockwise, so back, okay. We'll rotate clockwise in about 30 more seconds.
You're going here,
Until you start doing those all right, friends, let's get on up and rotate clockwise.
What's that?
Yes.
Actually, just a little bit smaller. I didn't realize I did was read the book first. Just outside. I didn't have any time. And then this is like.
We would put cherry one and full cherry, just
My favorite part is that she put some of the balls that are stuck on the roof in the schoolyard.
Every time
It's the details that matter.
I tried to use another app called Educon,
This is one of my projects, and first one is like a few
But more structured.
Mr. Powell, I made that out, and then so that was really
As being called out by your teacher.
My project, we're sitting on to make something that's beautiful.
I would post to the Mississippi River and Mississippi River.
I did decide, lose our clothes.
All eight people, somebody just to.
And lose our clothes.
Yeah, we're gonna go over there.
It's very sheltered.
It was a lot of trial and error. I had like 4 pieces of material sometimes. Put it into the X card, it would be this center, and some lettering would be fully cut out. Or, we had a lot of trial and error. It's just like months, I think, sanding, painting, and actually garbage, and digital stuff as well.
Scale wise, the actual like.
Just take it off the wall, put it on the back.
Maybe I'm sorry for you, but I think scales is more of a path, and once you get in trouble, the new teacher induction. But considering the new teacher thing about just slowly, when I said you did it first, they're like, no, it's not like. We're not gonna be replicated. You're right. What do you think?
So this one, I'm really excited.
So what it does is, you choose a language. I don't have one that I language,
You're using Raspberry Pi.
so.
That random question about that. Did the school already have that? This last time I checked, it was a 5-year wait for the Raspberry Pi.
We kind of had
That's a fantastic idea. And we have a couple of different options. We got the rate parties, rankings, we can use the laser, that's it, the color, if you want to learn lasers, set it to, it is consistent with awareness is like so hard. This part is still and then we can leave because that was my contribution to the project. The design is a stamp that she designed, to me to print, and I used it as a stamp for the design.
So the special is a picture of
Is that corresponding? Yes.
Just 3D printed it on a 3D printer. Yeah. So it's PLA plastic. It's actual brain mold down. I need to go with that.
So I'm trying to hold that as well. How does it reconcile Would there ever be an application
And you said this, did you say this was our main? Yes, that's the way
I don't know what's up there, but tell me that would Alright friends, wrap up your final thought. And then we're gonna turn clockwise again. Because you know, Yeah, we'll take some time to do that.
What we did is we got
How long did this take?
Would you ever consider executing another video?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The second time that we did it, we put it into easel on the next card, that wasn't centered, so it's right. Yes, right, like the first one we did that, and then the third time we did the next
Now,
Never wondered what a unicorn department looked
How long is He was.
My favorite part about this is if you're looking Before we rotate.
at this point, like, for this project.
Someone where it is. But also flyers are kind of like behind.
Those students from there.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, seventh grade.
It's one of those things that's like, they have a lot of.
Our original idea was to make it out of vinyl, but.
Lots of reasons why people, lots of people can do it.
Yeah, we're making notes right now, are very little advice on our concept.
So once I do the
All right, friends, wrap up your thoughts. And then we've got one more rotation.
Thank you. This was excellent.
So, first what we did is get
And I let the next part set out. And then I did the two part kind of go to the letters and figure out the strings and everything and then see where the actual drum knocked out some the second project that I did, I did write a digital version of this is the reference to this is how the mouse works. This is how we do rather than how to make it a texture. I was going to why do I why would that first
I just wanted to share them. I thought it would be easier. But what we did
in control Play-Doh. So I use the Microsoft Drills. I
Yeah.
so the first thing I did, I just made like a drawing of it. I did all the dimensions. So I cut all the way to size. This is 3D and then I put together the graphic and I saved it. Like the names of them are actually just like raw play. This was $46
It's really good because it's hard to get the most like it's so different having the side terms for the third one, let's say, yeah, and then
So
About 1 more minute. And then we're gonna come back together as a group.
And so wonderful.
I think that's a gallon jug was probably $25, maybe 30. I don't know what time it was. Are you sure that it wasn't 19? Not it's not $200, I know that. All right, friends, we're gonna come on back together as a group.
I think it's like,
You tell me when you're ready.
By the way, you're running for quote of the day, right?
About their opponent's tears rolling down the floor. Yeah, that was how we made, lemonade out of some lemons when we were
Now, has a hate relationship with,
You good?
Wait, you good? You good?
Alright, so what we wanted to do in these last couple of minutes, we didn't want to make it tough on the students to just like keep talking for 15 more minutes with the same group. Everyone's had an opportunity to rotate through. My thought was that we could take a couple of minutes to just sort of give you a little bit of the initial logistics of what we did to get to this, and maybe a couple of things. This is called Meaningful Making in middle school year 2. Briefly talk about some of the things that we learned that did not work year 1, or some of the things that like worked so well that we absolutely had to carry them over into year 2. One of the things that has been hugely helpful is Ms. Martin put together this fantastic Google site with information examples for every single step of this project from start to finish. Asking students to write proposals for what they're going to do without any sort of exemplar would lead to
Chaos.
it's not exactly what we're looking for, right? And so, like, you're not getting solid 3-paragraph proposals like this without first doing the mini project where we've really limited what they can do. We worked with the Extraordinaires Design Studio, took a couple characters out of that, and then they had to create something for them, write the proposal, write the outline of what they were gonna do over the like week and a half that they had for it. On materials cost sheet, we just assigned arbitrary costs to things like cardboard, straws, pipe cleaners, whatever, just so that they could be in the practice of calculating the cost of their stuff. And then, this example for the proposal, was the first thing we gave them, and then some examples from previous years. This website is one that anyone can access. The link is in the description of our session on the Educon website. We'll also put the QR code back there at the end. One of the big things too is that on this project ideas page, there's an almost unlimited number of things that the students could have done. We wanted to cut that list of infinite projects down a little bit, so that way people aren't spinning their wheels for 3 weeks like, well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this.
And this also cut down on the, I can't think of anything, which we get occasionally. And to be fair, sometimes having that much choice is really overwhelming. I know when I sit down at a diner that has a 10-page menu, I'm like, oh my God, too much in the way of choice. So especially as we were starting out giving the students choice, we tried to give them some options. You can't think of something that you are feeling really strongly about and want to try. Here's a list of things that we have readily available or can easily help you with to get you started. And then maybe once you pick 1 or 2 things from this list and go through them, by then maybe you have a better idea of some other things you want to do. And students are welcome to propose things that are not necessarily on this list. In my classroom, a good example was resin. I did not have resin on this list, and I still have not put it on yet, but I had a student come up to me this year going, I've been seeing a lot of stuff on my TikTok feeds about people making this cool stuff with resin, like containers and jewelry and all sorts of stuff. Do you think this is something we could do? And I went back and forth because resin is messy. But the kids were really passionate about it, and all right, let's give it a try. So I have a bunch of stuff at home, because I use it myself. I'm like, let me bring in some of my stuff first. We'll try it out, see how it goes, and it went surprisingly well. And then more and more kids saw that and went, ooh, I wanna try that, or can we get these kinds of molds, because I wanna do that, but a little differently. And so the more they get comfortable with projects, the more they start branching out on their own with their own ideas that are not necessarily from this list.
Yeah, and we started off with a much shorter, like curated list of things that we knew we already had materials for at the beginning of the year. Because like, we're lucky that we have a few different donors funding this privately. Like, we raise $10,000 a year for all of the stuff that we do, but a lot of that goes into these 8th grade projects. The catch though is if you wanna do a project we hadn't thought about, the materials will just magically pop up, right? The procurement time sometimes could be 3, 4, 5 weeks from, hey, I think this would be cool, to here's why I wanna do it, to, okay, now we have the materials in hand. We cannot start out 8th grade with, okay, let's wait 6 weeks, and you just sort of do nothing. That doesn't work, right? And so, once they pick something, they got started with it, you know the process, you've talked to the students about it. One of the little things I wanted to point out that logistically, we don't have to use often, but I think is really important, is this bailout thing at the end. Like, what do you do if you've been working on it for 2 or 3 weeks and it is just not at all what you expected? You don't just get to be like, well, I'm done, and just chuck it in the trash. That, like, you can tell us that you learned that that didn't work, but more so, we want you to, reflection's one of our 5 core values. We want to know what happened, why it didn't work, what things you encountered, how that might influence what you do next. Like, all of these things that are important, metacognition pieces about this project and why it didn't work.
Yeah. So it's not just I give up, I'm done, going on to something else. You still have to think about what happened, why it happened, and tell us about it. Like, justify to us why we should say, okay, you don't have to keep doing this project, you can bail out and do something different.
Yeah. And then, at this point, is the clock actually, the clock's in the district that are correct?
guests have questions for us.
Yeah, I was gonna open it up. Questions for us, but ideally, questions for them. You can always email us.
I have one more thing I want
Yeah.
to add before we open up to questions. One of the things that we learned in the process of doing this for 2 years now,
Okay.
first year of doing this, we said we would do regular check-ins on the projects. Guess what really didn't happen first year? Those regular check-ins. And when we sat down to do our own reflection on this at the end of the year, we went, yeah, we fell down on that part, and that would probably be really helpful to make sure we do this year. So for me in particular, that was one of the things we set aside. Our Wednesdays are usually what we call mini course days. The kids have shortened classes throughout the day. The end of the afternoon, they go to community-sponsored mini courses while the teachers have professional development time, which is we're really lucky to have. And so with those shorter classes on Wednesdays, we decided last year when we debriefed was that Wednesdays would be the perfect day for us to meet with kids and teams, check in on how they're doing, and while we are meeting with individuals or small groups, the rest of the students are using that time to update their portfolio, do their weekly log, do all of that kind of back-end stuff to get that portfolio created. And I feel like that helped a lot, both for me in terms of knowing where my kids were at and catching problems with projects before they got to the bailout point, and also giving kids that time to work on the portfolio so it was not a mad scramble at the end of the project for most children, to have the majority of it ready to go, and at the end, all they have to do is the last finishing touches and wrap up the portfolio and be ready to move on to their next project.
A great example of that is the Instructable that Nikki and Naftali made. Like, it doesn't turn out like that if they're not going through step by step. Their project was 2.5 months of working almost every single day. And it's not because they were just messing around. That's how long it took to do this for the first time, right? And so that's why we got the quality we did. But enough about that. Our emails are available so ask us questions whenever, but what questions you have for the group, for the children, if any?
Yeah.
Could you speak to like the social aspect of like having the classroom working together and maybe sometimes someone lags or there's some type of problem or some types of successes that come with working together?
I was gonna say that, on the ending part of our project, where we were just, in this example, we were making pieces for our chessboard, there were a lot of other people that wanted to join in on working on it with us, and, like, we argued a lot about things, but also it helped us to complete, the longer, what otherwise would have taken much longer to do. And that was something that was really cool because with, like,